Aaron and Mark and everyone else involved in organizing this amazing event. So maybe a round of applause for everyone that's been doing that. It's really my great honor to be here. Mark's right, it was 2 years ago. This may be very week, actually, that I had the chance to first meet many of you, and that was an incredible opportunity, and it's overwhelming, actually, how many people are here. It's really a fantastic event. So I'm thrilled to give you a bit of an update on the company. Maybe I should just briefly start by saying what Audentes is, because I think maybe there's some stuff that you've read, but I can just briefly tell you that the company is a biotechnology company, and our mission is to develop treatments for rare diseases. We use a specific type of science called gene therapy science, which you've heard a lot about, and we're very passionate about its chances to produce benefit for many different children with many different diseases. So I know the theme of the event is anchors and oars, and I have just two analogies from in that context that I'll share. The first is that 2 years ago, the company was just really getting started. I started working on the idea for it in mid-2012 and was fortunate enough to be introduced to the scientists who had done all the early work, Anna Bush-Bello, Casey Childers, and others, Alan Beggs. And it was an idea in mid-12. It became something real legally on paper end of 2012, but really became something meaningful middle of 13 at this time, 2 years ago, when I was able to share the news that we just raised our first large amount of money to fund the company, which was $30 million at the time. And that was really exciting. And what I'd like to just talk about is what's happened since then, give you a sense for the progress, and talk a little bit about what we see as next steps. It's been an incredible 2 years. There's really three areas I'll tell you about. First, on the team. Some of you had the good fortune to meet a few members of my team that are here with me. Suyash and Barb and Tristan. They were actually three of the earliest people hired, and when I started, sorry, I forgot my oars analogy. The oars analogy is that 2 years ago, I could describe it as me in a rowboat with oars paddling like mad and choppy waters, frankly, trying to get the whole thing off the ground. But with screaming support and a lot of emotional support and help from the scientists who'd been working so hard for so many years that were incredible to it, and everyone in the patient community that had a chance to meet, Allison and Paul and others who were so helpful early on. But we've made incredible progress. So in the 2 years, the first thing I'll say is the team. So if you can believe it, it's no longer one person at rowing, it's 30. And it's an amazing group of people, talented, experienced, passionate folks who are incredibly committed to the mission of the company and to trying to help people with this science that we think has great potential. It's 30 people across a range of different disciplines, science, manufacturing, clinical research, regulatory work, some business, but it's a really talented group and one that I'm really proud to work with, and so that's been an amazing part of the progress. The second big category is the work. The science has advanced, and it's advanced really well. We've done an amazing amount of work doing scientific work on the product and manufacturing, animal studies that are required. We've talked to all the regulatory authorities in the US and Europe, not all of them, but a lot of them, to try to lay a foundation for a successful study of the trial of the drug in the future. And so there's been an amazing amount of work completed, but there's still obviously a tremendous amount to do. On the business side, it's actually gone well. Luckily, there's been a lot of enthusiasm among the investors who put money into companies like ours, and enthusiasm around this science that we're doing in our company specifically. And we took advantage of that, as you have to do in our business, and raised another $42.5 million in November, if you can believe that. Thanks. Yeah, it's incredible. Aren't those numbers incredible? I mean, $73 million has been put into the company so far. Now, we haven't spent it all, thank goodness. But it really is, it's amazing how expensive the research is, and you're paying for everything from making the drug to the studies we're going to do, to regulatory meetings, to you name it. And the team, of course, you have to hire good people. So the dollars are a little overwhelming sometimes, but luckily we've been fortunate and able to raise all that money so we can keep the train on the tracks. So it's been an amazing couple of years, and I love the progress. It's frankly, it's one of those things where you get the opportunity, usually over the holidays, for all of us, where you get questions from family or friends as to how it's going, right? I'm a founder of a company. I'd never really even thought that would happen in my career, and it's hard not to be just ear to ear when talking about the success of the company so far, because you have a vision for what you think it might be, and hope, but to see it actually come to fruition and be as great as it is a really very special thing. So it's been a wonderful 2 years, but that being said, we are working so hard because we have so much more to do. So let's talk about the next steps for a minute. We have additional work to do on the science of the program for MTM-1 in particular. And I realize, by the way, that I'm talking about MTM-1. I know that there's people here who are not living with MTM-1. And it sort of breaks my heart that I'm not talking about a treatment for every single of the diseases represented here. It'd be great if we could be involved in more, and is our goal as a company to be involved in more, but we'll also do whatever we can to support research into other diseases that we can't get to for whatever reason. And so if you want to talk about that with me or others from my team, please do. But with regards to MTM-1, as I think some of you heard earlier, we have some additional work to do. We're working hard on manufacturing. It's incredibly complex. I've been in this biotech field for more than 20 years. I've worked on a lot of complex, fancy products. This is the most, by far. And so we're solving that. We're going to solve it, but it's taken a little longer than we had hoped. We have some additional animal work to do, safety studies that we have to do before being able to start a clinical trial. The last thing we're ever going to do, to the best of our abilities, is to ask a family to have their child treated and not have confidence that the drug we're giving them is safe and has a chance to work. We'll never know for sure until we give it to a human, but we'll do everything we can ahead of time. And of course, the regulatory authorities ask you to do a lot of things. But we're close. We're getting closer. And all that work's going to culminate in a clinical trial starting next year. That's our goal. Frankly, it's later than I hoped. I think a couple years ago, I'm not sure if I said it in the slides, but I definitely planned previously that this started later this year. And despite all the efforts, all the hard work of the team, and an incredible level of commitment, we just couldn't get there. And it sucks. It's just an incredible disappointment, but that's how the science goes. But I don't want you to think that we're not working as incredibly hard as we can. We are. And so with that, we do have confidence that we can start in 2016. We have a lot to do, but it's our goal, and we're very passionate about it and very committed to it. We are working in other things besides MTM-1 right now. The other disease we're working on is Pompe disease. Many of you may be familiar with that. It has a lot of similarities. We're doing all the same work for Pompe at the same time, and that's one thing I did want to mention. As a company, we're working on multiple programs, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one is because we think the science and our team has the potential to develop and get approval for treatments that can help many different diseases, many different kids and families. And so we want to maximize that, and we believe we can do a lot. The second reason is it's more of a business thing. It's a more compelling story for people to give me the zillions of dollars that we need if there are multiple things we're working on and it's a little bit bigger, sort of multiple shots on goal, to use a sports analogy. But I want to reassure you that doesn't mean any less effort on any individual program. What we do is we take that money from those guys and we hire enough people to work on all of them in parallel, and we won't take on more than we can do at one time. It's always going to go as fast as we can. But we are going to work on multiple things. And so that's right now we've been working on MTM-1 and Pompe, and we are going to add others. Actually, we are. In fact, looking ahead to next steps. So what are you going to hear next? You're going to hear that we're adding a third program, and I hope we can do that soon. It's yet another important disease to work on, but we're doing that because, again, our mission is to do as much for as many people as we can and to make this a sustainable company so we can fund it for multiple years and get a drug for MTM-1 to start approved and available to everyone, globally. So we'll probably add a third program. I hope to be able to announce that we've raised more money, if you can believe that. The job is starting to turn into, first it was, raise the money and hire great people. And now I've got these great people, and so they do most of the work. And I find that most of my job is now running out and asking for money on an annual basis, it turns out. But it is that kind of crazy industry. But I do think there's a good chance we'll announce that we've raised yet more money. And it will be a great thing, because it'll fund the company for a couple more years, and we'll keep everything going. In fact, that's why I was a day late to coming to the conference, is because I was running around Boston and New York and trying to raise money, and I also left my wallet on the flight on one of them and had to go to the DMV for 5 hours yesterday. So in any case, fundraising, I think we'll announce something as well for that. We'll add more team members. You'll hear about that as well. And then finally, you'll start hearing about clinical trials starting. And of course, as always, we'll work to communicate very openly and very clearly with all of you about our work. I've had the good fortune of working for more than 20 years in this field and working in rare diseases the whole time. And I really, really appreciate how important it is to be human about it all, and to be open and honest and talk to you about what's working, what's not, what our best guess is on timelines, and to answer any questions that we can, and be honest when we can. And so, in any case, we will be working hard to advance this all very rapidly, and hopefully the trials can start as absolutely soon as possible. They will start as soon as possible. And I really desperately look forward to sharing that good news with all of you. And I guess that's the last point to share, is that none of the success of the company happens without help from you all. I mean, coming to meetings like this and having the chance to talk to you on a regular basis, it drives us. It's incredibly important to us. But we understand this is a collaboration. We're not going to be successful getting this drug approved without your help. It's really that simple. And so we really greatly appreciate the support you give us, the help you give us, the guidance, and we're going to continue to ask for that. And it's not just getting to the clinical trial. It's through the clinical trial. It's all the way to approval. It's even after the drug's approved, and we're working to make enough of it and make it affordable for everyone. And those are hard challenges, but working together, we can figure them out. So with that, I'll say back to my the anchors and oars analogy. Obviously, it's no longer one guy in a ugly-looking rowboat with choppy waters. It's a full team of people, 30 now, growing bigger, so it's got to be a bigger boat, and a lot of oars. And we're paddling as fast as we possibly can. I assure you of that, and we'll continue to do that. The waters are not smooth, for sure. They're still choppy, but we're plowing through them, and it's going to be successful. And we look forward to doing what we can to make your lives a little bit better. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to take questions if people have them.